Hi, I'm John Espino from The Young Folks, and I'm here today with director Ben Wheatley for his upcoming film, Free Fire. So, I rewatched the film again and enjoyed it even more the second time, just knowing what to expect. So, you had to be an expert in using the space allotted, because 90% of the film took place in just that one warehouse. How hard was it to conceptualize?
Well, I guess I must have had some kind of trace memory of what warehouses look like in terms of staircases and overlooking offices. I think it's more of a factory than a warehouse, to be fair. But yeah, so I'd always written that there was that, and then there was pillars in the place. So it started off like that, and then you write it, and it's kind of. But the problem is like that you imagine how you would describe the distance between this couch and that door. Is it one step or is it two steps, or can you bound it, or can you roll it? And if you write it's two steps to the door and it's one step to the door, in reality, then when you come to shoot it, you're fucked. Yeah. So you have to start. It's certainly in action. You have to start really nailing it down. So we kind of built it, sketched it out, did storyboards, and then started making models, and we built it in Minecraft. And
that's an amazing use of Minecraft.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, this is I've got the.
I hope more people start to use Minecraft as a resource, because it's pretty accurate to what it was on screen.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, and it was quick to do as well. It only took me an afternoon to do it, so I was just like, oh, cool. And so it's a lot of planning goes into it.
So films are really shot in sequential order, but it almost seemed like Free Fire needed that.
Yeah. Well, it could be because it was in one space, so that was at least. Usually they put stuff. There's two things why things aren't shot in sequential order. One is actors' availability, but on this they were all in it, pretty much in every scene. So that was out the window. And the other one is in where clusters of locations are. So you basically what will happen is there'll be like a unit base, and you'll get one location which is like some great location you need for it, but then they'll make all the other at least 3 or 4 locations be around that unit base, and at that point they might not, those things that are available might not be in the right order in the film, and then you've got this world of the schedule being all over the place. So you may move 3 or 4 times on the unit base, and again sets of weird locations are all in the wrong order, so that's what usually screws a film's schedule.
So was this process easier?
In that respect, yeah, but then there's other things that make it harder, like the idea that because everyone's on set at the same time, if someone trips over and sprains their ankle, then the whole film can't be shot. So it becomes a massive insurance job. So that was slightly worrying. And then the other thing is like single space stuff. In a normal movie, you don't care about how people get from location to location. I mean, sometimes you need them to pull up in a car and get out, but you don't really worry about that journey between their apartment and the bar.
You just cut from them entering the car to them exiting the car.
Yeah. But if you do that in this film, you suddenly get people teleporting across the space, so you need to see them move or have time for them to move each time, so that becomes complicated. Yeah.
And there was a lot of moving, and by moving I mean crawling.
Yeah.
I mean, the film was engaging the entire time, even though the actors were mostly either laying down or crawling from location to location. Was that a worry for you?
No. There's lots of, porn films are always lying down, aren't they? So,
that's true.
No one worries about it.
They can create actions with other parts of their body.
No, it's not. It's not. I didn't worry about it per se, but we just started to. You think, this a lot of this film is crawling about. But that was meant to be. That had been something I thought about quite early on. This idea that they were, when they're crawling, they're like, that's like my car chases. When they're on the ground, they're going, and just like a really reduced down version of a car chase.
So, approximately how many squibs do you think you went through in filming?
I think it was like 1,000 pyrotechnic detonations and 6,000 rounds of ammunition that were fired. And I can be specific about that because we have to pay for every single one.
Every single one,
yeah.
You have to expense every single one.
Yeah, so you get a bill at the end of each day for how much bullets have been fired, and it's like, oh wow, because the pistol rounds I think are $1 a go or something like that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane. So that's why you don't write into films people firing like heavy machine guns and stuff. So the 50 cal machine guns are $4 a pop for each thing. So when you go, brrr, you just go, $200, $400. All
right, we got to do this in one take, guys. Get it right.
Well, those minigun things they've got, they are just insanely expensive. Yeah.
So the gun noises, the sound design in it was magnificent. Like, did you have to research what sound every specific gun made, since there were so many different guns used?
Yeah, I mean, every gun had a specific sound, and then the other thing was that we'd found is that a lot of sound effects are sounds of blank firing guns, and they're not of actual guns, and the bullet coming out of the gun makes a difference to the sound of it, oddly. And so the sound guys, Martin Pavey, the sound designer, and Bobby Entwistle, the sound recordist, went off to get rifle ranges and recorded that real weapons being fired, and then fired over the tops of the mics to get the sounds of bullets passing and stuff.
I'd love that job. It sounds like a great job.
I don't know, it sounds like quite a dangerous job to me.
I mean, it depends what you're shooting at and if it can shoot back.
Yeah, exactly.
So how far into production before Martin Scorsese became involved?
Oh, from the start. Yeah.
From the start?
Yeah.
What drew him to the project?
Well, basically I'd kind of met him, and through my agent, and kind of we'd got on pretty well, and then his production company Cicalia had contacted Rook Films, which is my production company, and said, if we can help in financing of anything, then get in contact. And we sent them the script, and they wanted to do it, so it went from there really.
So what inspired the story between you, like the collaboration too between you and Amy? Who came up with the ideas, or was it joint effort?
Yeah, I mean it was a few things, and one of them was that I'd read this thing, which was a transcript of a shootout that had happened in Miami in the 80s between FBI agents and these guys who were going to go and rob a bank, and they have to, when they do a report, they have to write down every bullet that they fired, and who got hit and when, and how long it took, and and what the injuries were for all the parties. And so you read this thing and go, wow, this is a real mess.
Was it a novel?
Well, pretty much. It was quite long, and it was like 40 minutes, I think, the gun battle was, and it was really horrible, and just went on and on and on, and them all getting shot loads of times, but not dying, and some of them died tragically, but it was really not much like a Hollywood shootout. No. And I thought, that's really interesting. I wonder if there's a story in that we can play out. And then I sat on that for a few years, and then then I started doing research for another project I was working on about the IRA and the fight in Northern Ireland and stuff, and then I was reading about them buying guns from America, and how they would then smuggle them through the QE2 boat and then back to Belfast and unload them there, and I thought that's really fascinating. So that started to give me the period, and then I was talking to Cillian Murphy, and I kind of wrote the part for him. So it was like it all come together through all those weird little kind of moments. And we wanted to do this thing that was close quarters action, but I didn't want it to be just like stock characters like gangsters or who's the go-to villains at the moment? It's Russians. Yeah. Or it's kind of the Mexican drug lords, or Russians, or they get the bad rap. Indescript like Eastern European. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, oh god, really, Or it's like a kind of stock mafia type characters which haven't existed since the kind of the mid 80s, really, have they? And Sopranos has done it on really, really well, and it's all, And anyway, so I didn't want to get into it. So I thought I'll make these. This interesting, the Irish side of it, and it's interesting, the South African side of it, and then this side, and also because for me it's like a film where I'm coming to America to make this film. So in a way, the film isn't just about Americans. It's about Europeans and Africans and Americans kind of coming together in a moment,
or tearing each other apart.
Yeah. That's
So I think I read that Sholto did most of his own stunts.
Yeah. I mean, most of them did all of their own stunts, except for the bit, I think, where Armie Hammer's hit with that massive canister and flies through the air. That was a stunt man, thank God. But yeah, he was set on fire. Yeah, he did it for real, which was, terrifying. And I didn't want him to do it particularly. He was shot on the last day in case he got hurt or something went wrong. And I had a sleepless night, and I went to him. You don't have to do it, man. You know that you've been talked into it by stuntmen, and he was like, no, I'll do it.
Yeah, I got to meet him at South by Southwest, and he's very hands-on. He's very that kind of person.
Yeah, he's very physical, Sholto, and it's all about the physical comedy side of it,
which works great for every film he's in.
Yeah, man, he's terrific.
He does that.
I mean, I love him in it. I mean, it's a totally different thing he does in Elysium. That performance really shone out for me in Elysium with Kruger. I was like, fuck, he's terrifying, and then really funny and soft in this.
Did there anybody get injured on sets?
There was.
I mean, crawling through all of that.
Yeah, they were all
trash,
whining a bit about it on the various bits of press I was doing, and they never said anything while we were shooting. But apparently, they all got really horribly injured. But I think the crawling. I mean, they all had pads and stuff, you know.
Yeah,
but I think any you know what it's like. Even if you have to kneel down for too long, you get a bruise, you know. So it's kind of they were dinging themselves all over the place and getting hurt and stuff. So there was that, and then. There was one thing when Noah Taylor got hit when we were doing the the big argument that's around the van that goes round and round, and then it ends up with him shooting Sam Riley with Jack Raynor shooting Sam Riley. But like really early on in one of those sequences, Jack Raynor smacked what's his name Noah Taylor in the ribs. Apparently he cracked his rib. He didn't even know it had happened. So Noah was fine about it. Like went on with it. And at the end of the day, he's going, "Oh, was I all right? Was I all right?" So "You're fine, man. You're fine." And anyway, didn't hear anything about it for a while. And then he came back in like 2 days later. He goes, "I was like concussed or something during the whole sequence." I was like, "Were you?" I didn't notice. He said, "You better look at the rushes." So we looked back at the rushes. He's like. And it's all in the film. If you see it, he goes, "Oh." But it's all real. It's good.
These method actors, I tell you.
I know, it's crazy.
So I love how you said before, this is not your typical Hollywood film. It doesn't use all the over-exaggeration. They run out of bullets.
The guns jam all the time.
They jam all the time. The wounds are there and they actually affect them. So what are some shootout films that kind of inspired you?
I think the big one probably is the Wild Bunch shootout. At the end of the Wild Bunch, and that was that's the first time I saw something that was that kinetic and crazy, and then through to maybe the shootout at the end of Taxi Driver, and then to John Woo and all that kind of stuff, the hard-boiled action. And
so I read that you have an upcoming film called Freakshift.
Yes.
It's about subterranean nocturnal monsters and their hunters.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's like set in a futuristic city in the future where there's been like the world has been affected by some horrific kind of shale gas accident which has awoken these monsters underground that should have been left to sleep, and then
for the rest of the
and they kind of come up at night basically and maraud around and smash everything up. But this has been going on for like 10 years or something, and that every night then this police force has to go out, and they're more like kind of cockroach killers and stuff like that.
Pest control.
Yeah, there's no glamour in it, and they're like, oh god.
They're like, oh, another night.
Yeah, and all the houses have got shutters on them to protect them. So everyone at 6 o'clock turns a key, and all their houses go, and they're all under siege. And it's the day in the shift, in the freak shift, we follow these characters as they have a whole night's worth of fighting these monsters, and then the lives and loves and all this kind of stuff. So it's like a bit like it's like Hill Street Blues, and it's a bit like Doom, the video game, and then it's a bit like Aliens. So it's got all those and then like a 50s kind of them. Or
I'm sold. I'm sold already.
Yeah. I mean, see, this is how easy it was to get the money for it, And I'd go around the room going like this, a bit like I'm a crab, and they go, yeah, you can have the money.
yeah. Okay, you got it. So is it going to be also have some kind of comedic undertones or overtones?
Yeah, I mean, all the films I've done have got some kind of laugh. Even if they're not comedies, they're characters who have senses of humour. It's like, is Indiana Jones a comedy? Kind of is.
Yeah.
But it kind of isn't at the same time. And I think it's that. I love that line where you look at it and you go, I like these people because they laugh. They also can be in jeopardy, but they also laugh at their situation, which is how I think I would react in those. I wouldn't.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I wouldn't just front it out being like really tough. You'd be.
I'd be like trying to diffuse it with some.
Yeah, or just go, Jesus Christ, this is, oh my God, did that just happen? I think that's more like what a human being would do rather than a weird kind of macho film character.
And Armie Hammer's going to be in it.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, he is, and according to internet rumor, Alicia Vikander as well.
I saw that too. I knew Armie Hammer probably because of your history with him.
Yeah. No, so he'll be in it, and so no, looking forward to that. So that should be August time, I think.
Awesome, perfect. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, cool, man. Thank you.
Don't forget to check out Free Fire, coming to a theater near you April 21st.